Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Thank you so much for continuing to watch. In this segment, we're going to speak with Dr. Paulk Buchanan. We're going to talk a little bit about eating disorders. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, tell me about how you founded or when you founded the Atlanta Center for Eating Disorders.
It was about 23 years ago.
Wow.
I had been working in a private practice treating people with eating disorders, and at the time, the only levels of care that were available were inpatient treatment or just individual outpatient treatment, which was what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like people needed something in between.
Wow.
Most people, I think, can be treated in that mid-range level of intensive outpatient programming, and so that's how Atlanta Center for Eating Disorders got started.
Wow, and now you are growing and you're bigger and better, and there's been a recent change. Tell me a little bit about the merger.
Well, about 5 years ago, actually, my partner and I, Dr. Rick Kilmer, began to realize that people, as we were growing, people were coming to us who did need higher levels of care, such as residential or inpatient. There were no programs in Atlanta at that level, at least that exclusively treated eating disorders. Mm-hmm. And so we began a search for someone who had that expertise and could come in and help us develop a full scope of services. And so we really did a lot of research. We met with probably 6 or 8 programs, nationally recognized programs, and we chose Walden Behavioral Care. They're out of New England.
Wow. When people think of eating disorders, I think sometimes, again, there is kind of this thought that, oh, that's something they can kind of take care of on their own. They're just going to need a little help. And that's not the case with everyone. Sometimes people really need intensive, day-to-day help to get over the hump and to be healed. Tell me a little bit about the range of things that we're talking about, because I think sometimes people kind of think, oh, well, you know, they just need to talk to somebody and they can work this out. And that's not necessarily the case.
That's true. There are many levels of care, and the least intensive is outpatient treatment, and a small minority of people with diagnosed eating disorders can benefit from that level. I would recommend after a month, if you're not benefiting, to seek a higher level of care. Then there's intensive outpatient, which is usually 3 to 4 days a week, 3 or 4 hours a day. We do after-school programs and after-work programs for people because our mission has always been to provide intensive treatment with the least disruption to normal life as possible. Mm-hmm. And then there's a day program. We have a day program in Dunwoody. We have 3 IOP programs in surrounding areas, Decatur, Alpharetta, and Dunwoody. Wow. And then beyond that is the residential or the inpatient program, which is, as I said, why we have merged with Walden Behavioral Care. And the things that we really loved about Walden is their treatment philosophy was so similar to ours in that they want to bring treatment to the community. It was always so difficult for us when we had someone we had to refer out of state, especially 13, 14-year-olds, and they have to leave home and leave their family, leave their school.
More disruption.
More disruption. And so their philosophy of treating people as close to where they lived in the community was very similar, and they're very focused on family-based treatment, which means that they actually teach the parents the same skills that the children are learning in the program. We also have adult programs, but that is something that really interested us was the parents coming in for skills-based groups as well.
Wow, and that is important because, again, the children may be able to learn so much while they're with you, and then if they go home and there's no one there to supplement that continuing, you know, that continuing health care, it becomes difficult or easy to fall back into the same patterns.
Exactly. We're finding out with brain study, brain imaging, and the advances we've made in that area that actually people, it's at least 50 to 80% physiological or inherited factors, just like other medical problems.
Absolutely, absolutely. We talk about that sometimes with addiction and things like that. People don't recognize it's an illness and it needs to be treated just like diabetes. You wouldn't just, you know, give somebody outpatient for diabetes all the time. Sometimes you need to bring them in. Well, thank you for sharing all this information. Please give your website so that people can learn more. If, unfortunately, this pertains to them or someone that they love, they know that there's help right here in our own area.
Okay, it's www.eatingdisorders.cc. Eating disorders with an S.
Thank you so much. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
All right, please take the opportunity to learn more. Again, we take so many things for granted, sometimes from the outside looking in, but you never recognize, you never know how or what somebody might need, or how they could be treated better, or how they could be healed in a better way until you learn a little bit. So do a little research, learn a little bit more, and stay tuned for more.